Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and I'm a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the new moon in Gemini for twin flames, taking place on May 30th, 2022, 7:30 a.m. if you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States. This is the video, like I said, for twin flames, divine counterparts, soulmates, all those who have been initiated by love. This new moon takes place here at the 9th degree of Gemini, right there, and is giving us an opportunity for some much needed reflection and integration time post the eclipses. I talk through exactly what this means and how it all works in the Lightworker energy update for this lunation, which would have been published just before this one. So please have a listen to that for a full download on what this energy means. But the headline of it is that it's an opportunity for integration. The eclipses brought a significant amount of change in our worlds, and these changes would have meant that many of us are on a new path than the one we were on prior to the eclipses. And this new pathway is giving us an opportunity to begin again in certain areas of life. But that new beginning it's only accessible when and if we're willing to acknowledge certain things within ourselves and within our lives, apply some forgiveness, some compassion, so that we are in fact able to move forward. Like I said, I walked through the way all of it works in the Lightworker energy update. So my strong encouragement is that you have a listen to that and then come back and listen to this, because it informs the way I'm perceiving what's going on with the divine counterparts at this lunation. With the new moon taking place here in the sign of the twins, what we do have for divine counterpartships is an energy of new beginnings. I call the Gemini new moon the twins new moon, because it takes place in the sign of the twins, and the Aries new moon being the first new moon of the zodiac, the divine masculine's new moon. It is the first masculine new moon of the astrological year. We had the divine feminine's new moon with the new moon in Taurus just after that. Now we have the new moon in Gemini, and this is the twins new moon. And so this particular energy facilitates kind of an anchor point, a through line of energy that we'll be working with in divine counterpart connections through the remainder of this year. And this energy is the one that will help us understand what's unfolding this year in our divine counterpartships by understanding how this new moon works. So like I said, rather than repeat everything I talked about for the way this energy vibrationally is set up, please have a listen to the Lightworker energy update. It is every bit as important for your divine counterpart connection as this particular update just for divine counterparts is. Let's take a look at what the divine feminine energy is doing. Juno rests here at 12 degrees of Pisces. Juno operates as the divine counterpart to Jupiter, her husband, on Mount Olympus. And there she is there. She's a very important astrological figure. And she is sitting conjunct in energy called Nessus, Nessus. Nessus brings an energy to the table of being a bit obsessive, a bit addictive in nature. The Nessian energy is an energy of almost looping thoughts, obsessive and compulsion. It's the energy of compulsively going after something, compulsively doing something, even when you may not want to. The Nessian energy, Nessus brings forward an energy of feeling compelled from within, that you must move on something, even if you would rather move in a direction. Now, what's interesting about this, with Nessus and Juno sitting together in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is the final sign of the zodiac. It's all the signs put together into one singular energy. With Nessus and Pisces and Juno sitting with that Nessus, there is a bit of a compulsion and being pulled along the spiritual path in our divine counterpart connections through the divine feminine energy fields. And there can be some discomfort with this, some uncomfortable emotions and truths may surface, as Nessus can have us doing quite a bit of overthinking with this new moon in Gemini. Both Nessus and Juno sit at a 90-degree angle to each other. This new moon and Nessus and Nessus and Juno are squaring the new moon in Gemini. That's what I'm trying to say. And with that square, there can be a lot of rumination in divine feminine energetic fields about the connection, a lot of mulling over, a lot of head scratching, a lot of trying to figure things out. And interestingly enough, this is going to give us some insight. This particular lunation, this new moon in Gemini, is going to, through that rumination process, it is going to give us some insight about what needs to change in order for our partnerships, divine counterpart partnerships, business partnerships, partnerships in the creative arena, but specifically for divine counterparts. There will be something in the divine feminine energetic fields that through this new moon in Gemini comes to the surface as, wow, yeah, if I want something different to manifest in my connection, I'm going to have to deal with X, Y, and Z in myself first. And so all of us have masculine and feminine energy. It's neither about the body and gender you've incarnated into, or the identity that you feel you are on the inside or transitioning to with the body on the outside. We all have both masculine and feminine energy. We were just created that way. And so what you're going to be listening for in your internal feminine energy, our feminine energy is that part of us that is receptive, that is life force giving, that is open. It's that part of ourselves that is flexible. It's the part of ourselves that shape shifts and can kind of bend and go with the flow. What you're listening for from that part of you is what inside of that part of you is ready to evolve, needs to change and shift in order to get a different result on the outside in the connection. New inputs equal new outputs. You can't do the same thing you've always done and then get a new result in the world of things that you want to experience. And again, I really tease this out through all the other planetary influences taking place at this lunation and the Lightworker energy update. I strongly recommend you take a moment to listen to that so you understand the energies available to you to work with your feminine energy at this time to facilitate this integration of transformation that's just occurred through the eclipse cycle. And then from there, catalyze a new pathway forward going into the summer and the fall eclipse cycle, because there are some new timelines opening up, but they do require internal change for access points. We've got a sextile here to the energy of Pallas Athena. She is the feminine correlate to Mars. Pallas is here at the 13th degree of Taurus, and she is harmoniously aspected to that Juno and that Nessus. And so what I like to see about this is, at the sextiling angle, we get an opportunity to make change through our own efforts and listening to our own intuition. Uranus here is also a part of this. Uranus likes to make change. Pallas likes to protect. that which she is talking to. When you put Uranus and Pallas together, it's almost like divine insight is flowing to you now. And Pallas is guaranteeing that you don't miss it. She's protecting the connection between you and the divine to ensure that your sign, if you were looking for a sign, this is it. Whatever that sign is in your life, that's there's no head scratching about it at all. It's kind of spelled out in flashing lights so that you don't miss it at this time in terms of what needs to shift, what needs to change in the world of your third dimension, the way you're operating your third dimensional feminine energy, that's Taurus, to be a container for your spiritual life force, that's Juno here in Pisces. Our bodies, our third dimension, our homes are always the temple ground for God to incarnate within us, divine life force to incarnate through us, and for that divine life force to live within us at this time. There would have been some illumination through the eclipse cycles. Something's got to change. If you want to take advantage of your creative spark, if you want to take advantage of, your feminine creative energy, your capacity to shapeshift and grow and change and transform, there needs to be some level of shift in the way you're allowing the container to hold it. Some of us have boundaries that are too high. Some of us have boundaries that are too low. Something in here there's something in the way that we're holding our relationship to the divine that we are being invited to transform as a result of new insights that would have come through the eclipse cycle, so that we can hold our creative divine life force spark in such a way that something new can unfold in the world of divine counterpartship. Now, some of you through this integration process are recognizing, we're in this union window, and this is going to be a union with self, a union with source, a union with mission kind of period of time. Some of you are stepping forward into union with your counterparts, soulmate, karmic, twin flame, whatever label you feel applies is not the point. For the love initiated, what's happening here is that you would have gotten a wake-up call through the eclipse cycle that would have illuminated, in order for more love to land, there are some changes in behavior, some changes in habits and patterns, some changes in what we are doing and where we're placing ourselves on earth, the physical body, that are required in order for love to land. Okay. And the divine insight is now flowing through our feminine fields for us to have awareness about what those changes need to be. All right. This is exciting. There is, that vulnerable, receptive part of ourself that's kind of ruminating and running in circles, working on overdrive, trying to integrate this information at this time. I can see it here in the chart. There are signs about what you need to do. Wake up calls have already taken place. Hopefully, you're clear about what those are, and you're starting the process to make plans to integrate that for you. Like I said, I don't know which path you personally are on, but I can see divine love pushing toward anchoring here in the third dimension in this union window. Whatever person you're working with whatever label, whether it's self or another, something has been shown and revealed in terms of a shift needing to be made for that love to land during this union window. So if you want to have a look at what that is in your chart and in your life, and you want to have a look at your circumstance, maybe you're spinning and you just need another ear to parse it out, book a twin flame reading with me, a relationship reading with me, put in your details, your counterpart's details. We can look together to understand, okay, this is the piece that you're being asked to work on and shift during this period of time so that love can land through you. Okay, we have divine feminine energy also speaking harmoniously to Lilith in Ceres. And I love this energy for divine feminine energy fields. Lilith can represent a lot of the places in which we feel rejected and left out. She is the place where we feel like at times, you know what? If we can't do this in a way that's inclusive to both of us, then I don't want to be a part of us. So she will exit stage left, where Lilith doesn't feel like she's getting her just due. Ceres, one of the divine mother energies here in the chart, she talks about the energy of commitment in a lot of ways and a willing to almost chase down things that have been lost. She's a stand for she in the mythology. Her daughter got kidnapped and she chased her daughter down and she wouldn't stop until she got her daughter back. She is a stand for wherever she is placed in the chart. And she can work a little intermittently. She brings forward seasonal energy, a little bit of off, a little bit of on when she's finally placed. But what's interesting about, because she taught the seasons to humans, she taught, here's the time to harvest, here's the time to sow, here's the time to water, here's the time to have fallow fields. She taught humans agrarian culture, with Ceres and Lilith hanging out together in the sign of our emotional integrity and our emotional truth and our emotional reality, informing this period of integration after a season of change. What this is telling me is that the emotional reality for divine feminine energies, our emotional truths, these are no longer going to be permitted to be backburnered as we continue forward in the union cycle, the union window here. And I love to see this because for so many divine feminines, if you recognize yourself as divine feminine in the polaric energy, so now I'm just talking about, instead of recognizing you have both, there are those who are exploring anchoring only one energy at a time. So there are some of you who are really working exclusively with divine feminine energy, and you call yourself divine feminine because you're only working with that energy the majority of time or integrating that energy. For those of you who've been exploring polaric energy in your divine counterpartship, at this time, there's this way in which, and I've seen this, many of you who define self as divine feminine have left your emotional truth, your emotional reality off the table in the connection. You've tried to hold light, share love, be a leader in the connection. You've wanted to expand space for the polaric masculine energy to hang out with you. And what this new moon in Gemini during a union window is specifically giving you space to do at this time is to bring those emotional parts of you back online. And where there is not seat at the table for those parts of you, there is no you at the table anymore. So where your counterpartship only survives and thrives because that part of you is invisible, whether that's in your marriage, whether that's in your connection with your counterpart, where your feelings don't count and you have been participating, co-signing, agreeing with the fact that you can't have your feelings be validated, acknowledged, and mattered in the connection in order for the connection to survive and thrive. Through this process, what we've been building toward is, again, some shifting in the tectonic plates of the connection so that either all of you gets to be here or this connection crumbles because it doesn't allow all of you and all of them presence simultaneously. And there's a rebuild that would happen so that both of you can be present simultaneously. Okay. For those of you who, again, are back to, kind of exploring this, integrated energy, your work, when I speak to divine feminine energy, you hear a part of yourself. When I speak to divine masculine energy, you also hear something in that for yourself. For those of you, you're going to find that this period of time is really giving you the impetus to catalyze the relationship sector of your life by bringing more of allowing your emotional truths, what's happening in your heart space, to inform the ways in which you do relating with other people, by taking ownership and accountability for your relationships and yourself inside of your relationships. So leaving no part of you out. So it's similar for both, but where there's been extreme polaric energy, this is a period of time where you may find there's been a little bit more fallout. Where there's been integrated energy, this will be a period of time where you find there's more inclusion of self. Okay. And that's because all the self has to be all the way included. A union with the self, a union with all the parts, a union with all the ways you were made is necessary for things to come together. And this eclipse cycle would have really highlighted where there is separation from self, separation with counterpart mirrored back to you through the eclipse cycle. Okay. And so the divine insight about that is coming in now. Recognition about how you need to include yourself give yourself a seat at the table of your life is coming in now. All of that is coming online now, and there's a real protectorship to ensure that it happens. That's unfolding in the now time. And so there's a benefit to this kind of OCD energy that Nessus is imbuing through the divine feminine energy fields. And it's to make sure that self-abandoning is not what keeps occurring. Okay. And where you're witnessing your counterpart self-abandon in their own divine feminine energy, this is a period of time where you'll be in recognition, wow, their self-abandoning is really impacting the connection, and I need to let them solve that. I can't fix that for them. I need to let them solve that, because without all of them at the table, the connection can only go so far. And so where there is space, where there is distance, where there is silence, this particular moment in time during the union window at this new moon in Gemini is facilitating a bit of self-retrieval, soul retrieval, if you will, where there's a re-inclusion of divine feminine energy for both counterparts at the table of love. Okay. So that's what we have in divine feminine energy fields at this lunation. Let's talk about what's going on in the divine masculine energy. We've got Jupiter sitting here at that 3rd degree of Aries with Mars at the 4th degree of Aries. Now this, my friends, is an exciting, very exciting energy. When these two come together, what we get is a vibration and a frequency of like integrated masculine energy, human masculine and divine masculine. The human masculine energy, Martian energy, is that energy of getting up, getting out, going to get it. It's hunter energy, it's ambition, it's drive. It is forward movement and momentum energy. Divine masculine energy talks about that energy of providing, protecting, pro and co-creatorship. When you put these two together, what's happening here is an opportunity in divine masculine energy fields to begin the process of deep integration of divinity with humanity. That marriage of the two, specifically at these degrees, is very critical for and in this union window cycle. And the reason why is because those are the degrees when we get out to the peak of this union window in January of 2023. So I'll just show you guys the date 1/23, 2023. Those degrees are precisely where we have Juno and Jupiter, divine masculine and divine feminine, coming together for their once in every 7-ish year cycle to create union energy. Okay. For this energy of Jupiter and Mars to be opening the way for this to occur in another roughly, I would say, what is this? We're in May now, basically June. About another 7 months is when this takes place. For this to be happening is very auspicious, because what this is telling me is that there's an anchoring in our divine masculine energy fields for union energy to occur, but it has to happen through our masculine energy first, the marriage of human and divine. And then the next thing that gets to unfold is marriage of feminine and divine. Okay. So it's an exciting, exciting energy, beautiful energy. And it's a catalytic energy. That Aries energy is the sign of the self, the sign of the I am. It's the sign of the individual ambition, is the first sign of the zodiac. This, for many, this union window cycle will be a union with self cycle. For some, there will be union with a counterpart in some way, shape, or form, but with a union window happening in the sign of Aries, the sign of the I am, the self, it will be a union with self. And with this masculine energy coming together in the way that it is in the sign of Aries at the Gemini new moon. Oops, that's not what I mean to do. Let's go back to the birth chart. There we go. This is an opportunity for us to marry our internal divine masculine and human masculine energy, so that our human masculine energy can have the opportunity to operate at a higher octave. Now, many of you are seeing what's happening on planet Earth with the Martian energy. Mars in its shadow, unfortunately, can really bring a warlike energy, aggressive energy, a fighting energy. When we bring divine masculine energy into that, we have the opportunity to tone that down and have Mars manifest in the light through assertion, through ambition. Okay. But it's a choice. It's always a choice. Do you want to manifest in light or shadow? That's a choice. You can manifest in cycles of destruction, because in mundane astrology, Jupiter will expand anything it touches. And if Mars is operating in shadow, it'll expand Mars in shadow. But the opportunity to step into light life force energy is certainly here, if that's something we so choose. Beautiful energy on the divine masculine energy side. Some of you are really going to start to see, if you again are recognizing that you're working polarically and you work in divine masculine energy almost exclusively, you're going to start to experience an energy of coming to terms with self and the God spark within you, your creative life force energy, in a way that you have not necessarily felt before. It'll be a power surge, so to speak. And specifically for any of the signs that have significant water placements, now that both Jupiter and Mars have come out of water sign Pisces, this is where you're going to start to feel like there's a break. The Jupiter and Mars and a whole bunch of other planets moving through Pisces. If you are a water sign or having had significant water placements, you would have noticed in these last 6 weeks in particular, a bit of like a low mood, low energy, depressive kind of energy. Through the eclipse cycle, some hard truths would have come through that. The truths are now giving you the opportunity to manifest the clarity you've gotten through action. You'll see in divine masculine energy fields now a catalyzing, like the motor has turned on, time to take an action. And so it's a beautiful energy. I love to see it for sure. But it's an energy of like, okay, it's time to be the divine incarnate that I was created to be. And this new moon in Gemini gives divine masculine energy fields an opportunity to step into that. Okay. Very juiced up energy. And it's an energy where the divine masculine energy is kind of now holding the container for union energy, and the divine feminine energy, who's going to move into Aries at the start of next year, will step into the container that the masculine energy is holding. Okay. Again, I don't really get into the whole labels of the thing here on the channel. Who's a what's this? Is it a this person or a that person? I leave the labels to you. For the love initiated, which is anyone who's attracted to this content, doesn't really matter. It's the internal masculine energy that's about to start holding space for your feminine energy to unfold, holding space for the feminine energy to bring her feelings online, as we just talked about with the divine feminine, holding space for the feminine energy to move into her creatorship and be that creatorship, that creativity, that feminine life force creative energy here on earth. Okay. We also have with the divine masculine energy a sextile to Chariklo. And so there is aid and support that is available from whomever you pray to, God, Allah. You can pray to, I don't know who you pray to, and I'm not exclusive in that way. If there's aid available to you from unseen life forces, whether it's ancestors or spirit guides or Holy Spirit, whomever, that those people are available to help you, but what's required is a request. And so in whatever format that you understand prayer, that you understand asking, Chariklo's energy here, speaking to the divine masculine energy field, gives you the opportunity to have that particular support show up for you as long as you make the request first. Okay. And I talk about the mythology around Chariklo and the Lightworker energy update. So if you want more there, you can have a listen to that. But with procreative masculine energy here, and co-creative Chariklo here, this is an energy of almost there's nothing you can't do if once you put your back into it, put your effort behind it. There's a lot that can be accomplished here by simply taking action at this time. Okay. And the action that's needed for taking would have been revealed through the eclipse cycle in the last 6 weeks. All right. We have a square. We have Ceres and Lilith in conversation also with divine masculine energy via a 90-degree angle. Okay. And this facilitates a little bit of tension between our emotional reality and our ambitions in our divine masculine energy fields. And so whomever, is experiencing divine masculine energy, whether it's you or your counterpart in polarity or you're in union with your feminine energy internally, what you may notice is some uncomfortable emotions surfacing that may, from the squaring angle, try to tell you some sob stories, almost a little bit of like, well, I can't do, and I'm too young, or I missed my chance, I didn't go to school for, or other people can, but I can't. No, you're going to start to be able to hear and see through this new moon in Gemini. You're going to be able to distinguish limiting beliefs from the truth. And it's going to be uncomfortable. And simultaneously, it's exactly what's needed to foster the motivation, to capture the motivational energy of Jupiter and Mars coming together in Aries. It's exactly what's needed to be able to say, hey, who am I going to be in the face of maybe some emotional difficulties that I have had up until this point? And how do I want to honor the way that I feel, but also honor the where I'm headed, and not let my feelings operate as facts when it comes to whom I'm becoming, what kind of counterpartship I'm manifesting, what kind of love I'm bringing here to earth, what kind of creative work I'm holding space for to bring forward through my light work. Okay. This is an energy of giving yourself permission to feel your feelings, but not let your feelings run your show, if in fact those feelings are telling you negative things about yourself. Okay. All right. So that's what I got. There's a lot here for this new moon in Gemini. I do think some of the most important bits of it are over in the Lightworker energy update. So if you haven't listened, I highly recommend. And if you want to have a look at how this all plays out in your chart, in your connection, then I strongly recommend we sit down, you book a twin flame reading. Regardless of the label, you can book one of those readings and we can look at your chart, your counterpart's chart, talk through the circumstance, look through where your growth is, and get you your next steps through this union window to manifest your growth as we move through it. It's an honor and a pleasure to serve you. You can find me over at kmoonastro.com. I can't wait to read for you and enjoy the tail end of this Mercury retrograde. It's a beautiful opportunity for integrating some of the changes that have just taken place in our lives. Take great care, and bye for now.